Now, from CBS 4 News, this is Facing South Florida with Jim DeFede.
Welcome to Facing South Florida. I'm Jim DeFede, and we have seen how important the state legislature has become in our day-to-day lives. Former Broward County Commissioner Barbara Sharief is running against State Senator Lauren Book in a hotly contested primary battle to represent the newly redrawn state Senate seat. Sharief has been deeply critical of Book, the Democratic leader in the Senate, arguing she has not done enough to stop Governor Ron DeSantis.
I'm running for this seat because I have been a resident of this district for 21 years and had the opportunity to represent it for 13 years in elected office. I live in the city of Miramar, and this seat that I'm running for right now is currently held by State Senator Chevron Jones. And so I was kind of shocked that he wasn't going to run again and that he'd chosen to move to another seat. So this is an open seat. It has, by history, have been the opportunity to have a minority access, which you know is really waning in terms of Tallahassee. We've not had very many seats this year. And so I thought it was a perfect fit for me to continue to move forward in my community and to continue to represent them on a higher level. So that's why I chose this seat, and that's why I'm running.
I know that you're running against State Senator Lauren Book. Her campaign tells me that she currently represents 54% of the district, and so this was a natural fit for her.
Yeah, so currently, I don't know where they got their numbers from, but I represented 71% of this district as the county commissioner. I represented Weston, Southwest Ranches, Pembroke Pines, and Miramar, which represents the lion's share of the district. Secondly, I've been on the ballot multiple times in this district, and my community's elected me. And so Lauren's never been on the ballot down here. She's never been on the ballot, period. And so she's new to this district. As far as seats that she could have run in, Gary Farmer gave up a seat that Lauren represented the majority of, more along the lines of that 54%. And it was an open seat. And so I didn't really see the need for this challenge. And I would have to say, I'm not really running against Lauren Book. Lauren Book's running against me. This is my district, my home territory. You know, I can't tell you how much money that they've spent only based on what the reports are, but they've spent over $1 million in my district, and she's still losing in our internal polls by over 13.8%. So
Right.
why would I want to be out of this district?
So let's talk about some of the issues. What do you see as the major issues in this campaign?
So the first thing is that our economic downturn has hurt people in many, many ways. First of all, rent. People can't afford to pay their rent. They've been looking to us for rental assistance, yet the state has $385 million left over from money that was allocated to us by the federal government, and it's just being held up there by Ron DeSantis. Why is that? Why can't we be more of a vocal advocate to get people the help that they're needing? Homelessness, rental assistance, we need rent caps, a statewide standardized a renter's rights policy where if you're going to increase the rent, you have to give proper notice. And if people are behind in their rent, we have to expedite them getting help. That's number one. That's one of the biggest issues. The second issue is seniors and healthcare. Our healthcare system has been broken for a very, very long time. As a doctor of nursing practice and for 30 years in the healthcare profession, seniors on fixed incomes complain about, one, getting long-term care outside of a hospital, number two, paying for medication and food. So they have to make a choice. We as state representatives and as state legislators, we have an opportunity to fix the managed care program system where people can know that they have an opportunity to get long-term care. They don't have to be bankrupt in order to get care for Alzheimer's disease. I think that's ridiculous, and we have to change that. We also have to put in place safety nets for seniors who can't afford their medication so that they're not having to make that choice about food and medicine. I think that could be done across the aisles. That's something that affects Democrats, Republicans, Independents, NPAs. I don't see where the issues that I see as issues, I don't see where they have to be partisan, because as soon as we make those issues partisan, it affects the people and it hurts the people the most that need help.
So let's talk about abortion. Obviously the legislature lowered to a 15-week period. There's every likelihood that in the next session they will attempt to lower that even further, given the new Supreme Court ruling. What can you do if you're elected to the state Senate to prevent Republicans from continuing to go after reproductive rights for women?
So first of all, let me just say that they did a voice vote on a bill that would allow rape and incest, that would make mandatory rape and incest victims not able to have abortions after that 15-week period. I think that that's sick, but they were allowed to do that and not be held accountable. I think if you're going to vote against women and you're going to vote for things like incest and rape victims to not be able to have abortions, then you should be made to be on the record saying that, and you should be held accountable for that. We didn't do that this legislative period, and I don't really know why, but if I was there and I was in charge, I would have got together with my Democratic friends, and even if it meant that we lost, make them accountable so that people would know in the community who's voting against us. And I think that that's something that hasn't been done on a consistent basis.
Are those issues that you're specifically blaming on Lauren Book?
Those are issues she was specifically in charge of, yes.
So elaborate on that. Tell me where you find fault with what she's done.
So the first was when we had the opportunity to hold them accountable on the floor. She refused to call for a hand vote, which would have made Republicans accountable for saying that they were okay with not allowing a amendment or an exception for victims of rape and incest to have abortions. So that was number one.
And let's stay on that for just a second.
Sure.
Because it's an arcane process in Tallahassee. I know you're familiar with it, but my viewers may not be. What happens is there is a voice vote on whether or not to allow exceptions for rape and incest. It sounded like it may have actually won, but the Senate president at the time ruled that it had lost. And under the parliamentary procedures that occur at the time, any senator on the quote-unquote losing side can raise their hand and ask for four of his or her colleagues. And if there's 5 hands that are raised, then it goes to a named roll call vote. Lauren Book did not raise her hand, but neither did any other Democrat, for that matter.
She told them not to. And so I wanted an answer for that. I think that that's something you absolutely have to die on the sword for. You cannot allow people to push through bills that take away any type of rights, women's rights, human rights. It's just fundamental. It's something that we cannot compromise on that. And when they do attack it, we have to be prepared to stand up against that. And, my second issue for us as a community and as a whole, when we vote on something, it is up to our state legislatures, state representatives and state senators to make sure that stuff gets carried through. One of them is restoration of voting rights. We have such a difficult time with people getting their rights restored. They have to go through so many hoops. When we voted as a state, overwhelmingly to have that done, and it hasn't been. And we have somebody there that voted, one of the few people that voted against it to make it harder for automatic rights restoration to occur. That's Lauren Book. She's running in this district. I mean, we have an issue with substance abuse in our community. Yet we have somebody that voted to penalize opioid users even worse and give them more time in jail. Look, we have an issue with mental health and substance abuse. We need to be getting people help and treatment versus penalizing them with jail time.
You own a business, I just want to double check, South Florida Pediatric Home Care. And yes. In May of 2013, you settled a case with the state for overbilling of Medicaid. I think you paid in some $540,000 that you had allegedly overbilled Medicaid for. And then a few months later, you settled another case for about $109,000. So that's almost $650,000 in overbilling that you settled with the state on Medicaid. Address that for me.
I'm going to address it because it comes up every time. So first of all, only honest agencies respond to Medicaid audits. That Medicaid audit department runs off of the fact that they can collect money against agencies that don't owe it. I did not owe that money. I had paid payroll on that money and I didn't overbill anything. What occurred was on some of those patients, we had dual auths in the same home. You're not allowed to provide services by two home health agencies in the same home. I was providing skilled care, paid skilled nurses, and the other person or agency was providing home health aid services. Their auth was first, my auth was second. So by default, I had to pay back. I fought it. It was spending a tremendous amount of my resources on legal fees. And my lawyer said by the time I got to the end, I would owe him just as much as they said I owed. So I held my nose and I signed it because I was in a fight with a giant and I couldn't win. I'm focusing on what I love to do, which is take care of kids and provide the highest quality of care that I can. And you know, that paperwork in there says that I chose to settle. It doesn't say that I did anything wrong. And I love the way that people like to bring that up and make a big deal out of it every campaign cycle. So I'm ready for them.
When we come back, another state Senate candidate, Raquel Pacheco, who is hoping to unseat the controversial Republican state senator in Dade, Ileana Garcia.